Hi everyone and welcome to a extremely late gameplay analysis video. Really sorry. I wanted to try and get the subs out before I did any more, but Hydra, as I've said in a few different places, Hydra's been sick and his internet's been out, and YouTube's being a dick at the moment. Like the video is actually on YouTube at the moment, but it's private because once it hits the part 8 segment, it freezes on Jorska's name card. So like the audio keeps playing after that, but the video freezes, so there's no subtitles after that. It's really annoying. And my computer isn't good enough to encode it, so we have to wait for Hydra to wake back up to encode it. It's a real annoyance. So to pass the time while we wait for that, we've got a gameplay analysis video from Group G. We're looking at Part 1 Dio versus Kawajiri and Pucci versus Valentine. I feel this would probably be the best combination to get some of the character stuff going. So yeah, just quickly there. As you can see, Kawajiri Kira's explosions still hurt him, just like normal Kira's do. He has two different air bubbles that you can only really tell are different at the startup from the name. He says that one's Cookie Done. That one's just a normal fireball. But then we get this one, which is the manual explosion one. I'm not really too sure why you'd want to use this manual one over the other one, to be honest. There aren't that many situations where you would need it, because you can't move while you're controlling it, and it kind of takes away a lot of the stuff you could do with it. You can blow it up wherever you want, so if you can just kind of wait for it to be in front of you, and then blow it up, and you can make sort of a shield with yourself into mixing it with the regular fireball to cover you. But that doesn't seem very effective against sidestepping, so I sure will come up with some cool uses for it, because it does seem like something that has potential. Just then he did a move that seems to be called trajectory change during it. He does that sort of angle point thing with his fingers. I'm really sorry about this, but I'm not too sure what it seems to do. I went by it frame by frame, and it seems to kind of speed the fireball up a bit, but that doesn't really seem like much of a trajectory change. I'm assuming what it would do is make it home in on your opponent's position. So if Dio had sidestepped, then it'd change angle. But with what we're going off at the moment, all I can say is that when I looked at it frame by frame, it seemed to be speeding up. But that might just be me noticing something that isn't there while trying to look for what it could do. The fact that he has other things that he can do while controlling the manual one does make it really cool though. I really like how they did two different ones to kind of represent the two different air bombs that he did actually do during the final fight. It's really cool. That super jump that Dio has as well looks really cool. Not many characters in this game have moves that give them additional movement options, really. So a move like that kind of gets you in straight away if you can predict the fireball is pretty useful. It's going to make playing against Dio completely different to most other characters. As you can see, the manual one goes straight through people unless you detonate it, just like in the manga. So you're going to have to be careful when you're using that. The Space Ripper Stingy Eyes is like the fastest beam I've ever actually seen in a fighting game, I have to admit. That was incredibly fast startup for a move that actually covered the entire screen instantly. So yeah, that seems like an incredibly good anti-projectile option. Like, if there's any projectile you could react to, you could straight away punish it with that. This, like, obviously, anti-projectile supers aren't that new of an idea to fighting games, so it's not like it's going to be a big issue or anything, but it is really cool. Yeah, Space Ripper Stingy Eyes are about as good as you'd expect them to be. That just then kind of showed the kind of stuff you can do if you do read the projectile. You can just jump straight in. So Dio's Rekka series there seems to be it seems to be fairly tight if the AI is capable of missing it. You'd expect the AI to be able to hit a Rekka series. Like, if you're new to fighting games, a Rekka is named after Fei Long's Rekka Ken, where you cancel one special into another one that are all part of the same series. So that's what he was doing there with that swing kick. But and then he missed the part two of it, and blocked it. So I can't imagine it'll be that tight. But yeah, something you might have to watch out for. Could do frame traps with it, I guess. I don't know who would be pressing buttons with a Rekka there, but... And yeah, the gap was big enough for Kira to counter after the second and in between the second and third part, so have to watch out for that as well. Um, the explosion kind of lingers with the manual detonation there. This is probably the main part of it that you'd want over the one that detonates when it hits, because the explosion was barely on screen when it hit Dio there. So you probably could set up a kind of neat shield with it, but it does still seem too easy to abuse. It's possible you could detonate it to make like a meaty explosion, but you couldn't be too close to the opponent or you'd get hit, and you'd have to do it fairly late. And he's got another move that I think he does in a bit, that I think he'd be better for that anyway. It's hilarious, as you can see. The manual one can go through the edge of the stage and keep going, and Kira doesn't recover. It's pretty amusing. This launcher move that you can cancel into the super jump by the looks of it seems like it'll have some pretty cool combo options. Even if you don't cancel into the jump, you could do some launchery stuff. So yeah, Dio seems like he has a lot of potential for combos just based off having a launcher. Not that many characters so far have had a launcher, so... So here, he turned a pebble into a bomb and puts it on the ground. This would probably be better for shielding or for meaty stuff than the manual bomb, I feel. It's really annoying that this stage has a bit that you can't actually see the stone at this point in time. I guess being a pebble, part of the point of the move is that it's difficult to see. But that won't matter as much once the game's been out for a while and people are actually good at recognizing little things like that. So still has potential to be neat, it being hard to see. But considering the AI doesn't want to use this move much at all, and I don't think he ever detonates it, it's hard to tell how useful it'll actually be. So, yeah, puts the stone down, then immediately throws it on air bomb. Thanks, Kira. That big swing kick looks like incredibly negative, so you're gonna want to hit confirm into that. Um, at first, it looks like it has potential for like, oh, if you space it far enough away, like if you hit with the maximum distance of the kick, it'll still be safe because Kira whiffs a few moves in front of him. But I'm pretty sure if just any character did their longest range move, he's standing in this pose for so long that you'd probably just hit him. So spacing probably isn't really going to help you here. Just don't do it on block. Of course, because it's a Rekka, the second part where he does that double kick looks like it'd be more safe than it. So if you can do it as a block string without a gap, then that'd let you do the big swingy kick on block. But if there is a gap, then it's kind of really risky. Yeah, you'd want to be careful with that. So yeah, Kawajiri Kira still has the move where he turns into a bomb. So you still get that part of the Kira gameplay. And the Stomp OTG. He did just before that game ended. So yeah, with the two air bomb moves, Kawajiri looks like he's incredibly different to regular Kira. As you'd kind of expect. I mean, they did fight fairly differently. But yeah, with so much of the manual air bomb being hard to work out from the AI, and the pebble that he uses twice in the entire league and doesn't detonate in either match, if I remember right. With him using so many of his moves so fewly, that's not a word, but I don't know what I was looking for. With that, it's really hard to tell how he'll end up in the end, different to regular Kira, despite the differences in moves. So I'll really like to try him out, and when the game comes out, just to try both of them out to see what the differences are. Dio looks really cool, I have to admit, even though we lost all his matches. That record series he has that seems to have a few different options you can go through. Like he did that overhead swing in this, but in the PV he did a low kick that froze. So it's kind of like Iron Fist from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where he has a Rekka where you can kind of just do all your special moves as if they were part of the Rekka. So you've got like a tree diagram of moves you could do, kind of. That's really cool, and not that many characters have done that. Um, Especially not one combining the freezing and vampirism parts of Dio. So that's really cool. Can't wait to... I should stop saying can't wait to, because I end up saying can't wait for every character. But Dio does look really cool. More so than most characters. I think Dio looks cooler than Kawajiri so far. Even though I am a big fan of Kira. So yeah, all the Dio fans who are disappointed by his performance in Group G, don't worry, because the character does look like he has really cool potential that the AI just got. So yeah, I'll just pause now quickly. So Valentine has the same kind of counter super that Kawajiri has. And that may be something I forgot to say about Kawajiri, is that because his level 1 super is a counter, and you can whiff cancel specials into supers in this game, you could throw out the manual bomb, and then if you guess wrong and your opponent jumps over it, you could super cancel into the counter, and then counter whatever they do to try and punish you. And that's something you could try and do to alleviate the risk of throwing out a manual bomb and missing. Valentine doesn't really look like he has anything quite as cool as that to do with his counter super, but it has like the coolest animation in the game, so you probably want to work it into your game anyway. So that was Pucci's level 1 super. White Snake takes your disc and you can't use special moves, kind of like Rohan. But the difference here is that, unlike Rohan, you can't use special moves until you get your disc back, which Pucci's taken. And so you have to knock Pucci down before you'll get your specials back. You don't just wait it out, because if you try and wait it out, you'll end up the entire game without your specials. So we started at 86, and look at the clock when Valentine does get his specials back. Also, he gets OTG'd by the stage hazard, which seems somewhat annoying. Oh, and here we get the 14 words meter, which is Pucci talking to the green baby that he just conveniently has in his coat. Since we didn't get to see any of Sea Moon in the group stage, I can't really say anything about Sea Moon, obviously. But I think it's kind of going to be a matchup decision whether or not you want to go to Sea Moon. Because it's not like Sea Moon is just a directly upgraded version of White Snake. Like, they have completely different moves. So there'll probably be some matchups where you want to just keep White Snake so you can keep sealing your opponent's moves, and other ones where you want to get to Sea Moon so you can have the buffs. If you do get to Sea Moon in the first round, you'll keep Sea Moon in the second round. It was confirmed on Twitter, so that's something to keep in mind. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, it's so hard to get Sea Moon and then you just lose it. But yeah, I do definitely feel like sealing your opponent's special moves could be very powerful for some matchups, even though Sea Moon will probably have some really cool things. That was totally a cross-up by Valentine there. Looked like it had a really good hitbox for crossing up, considering he kind of kicks in front of him and it's still hit behind him. So that's cool. I always like cross-ups like that. So Pucci got knocked down. The disc is on the ground now. 74 seconds. He hasn't even picked up the disc yet, so he even forces you to go forward just to get the disc. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be some matchups we want to just keep White Snake, just so you can keep sealing your opponent's moves for such a long time. So yeah, seems like with the corpse parts, you have to kind of crouch down to pick up the disc. You can't just stand on top of it. You do have to crouch. So it's still not easy to get your special moves back after you've knocked Pucci down. It's seems really good, considering he can do it with a special as well as the super. So Valentine has all three of his corpse parts now. And as you can see, he takes next to no damage. He seems to be taking like half, if not less, damage than normal. So finally we know what the corpse parts do for someone. I doubt this is what they do for Gyro and Johnny, because this seems more like a reference to Love Train, which is fairly Valentine specific. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did do the same thing for Johnny and Gyro. Um, but yeah, it's a tiny amount of damage. I'm sure you could just like kind of move around at the beginning of the match, shoot some bullets, then pick up your corpse parts, and then go in for an incredibly low risk combo. Because you don't lose this buff until you get knocked down. So the entire combo you're going to take half damage unless, well, except for the OTG move at the end, I think. So yeah, that special move takes your disc. You can do it meterlessly and take your disc and steal your specials until you can knock him down. Yeah. With Rohan, just the ability to wait it out makes it kind of, you know, manageable. But this, you have to go in to get your to get your special moves back. Yeah. So probably said enough about that. So here, the buff from the corpse parts, it did it before as well, but I forgot to pause. It seems to block the projectile, which is weird because I don't think it did that against Kakyoin. So it might just be like projectiles without X durability don't make it through, but that seems kind of weird and bad for specific characters. But I can't work out why the projectiles aren't hitting him here, unless the move where he's trying to do a special but can't because it's sealed has projectile invincibility. So he seems to be able to tell more than one word to the green baby at once. I don't know if that's like light tells one word, medium tells two, and heavy tells three, or if you like hold down the button to keep telling it words. But yeah, you can definitely get up a few words at once if you're at a distance where that character can't really hurt you. Projectile characters you're probably not going to want to risk saying that many words, like against like Mister or Whole Horse. But against a character with only slower projectiles, or no projectiles, you could probably get in a few. I assume there'll also be specific combos where he ends in like a hard knockdown and then cancels that move into the green baby to tell it some words. Probably just one in that case. I don't think you'd be able to get off two, but you might be able to, depending on how long the hard knockdown goes for and if you want to do a setup on their wake up, or if you just want to get steaming. Pucci's AI is an idiot. Starfish moving the projectile and then stepping back into it is not the most clever thing you can do in that situation. That projectile looks a bit too predictable, considering it's Valentine's only projectile. So I don't think he'll be doing that much zoning. Probably just some pressure with the projectiles or beating other characters' projectiles to try and get in. I see both these characters as rush down. More obviously for Pucci, since he's only got that one projectile that obviously isn't the best for zoning. But until he gets to Seamoon, then he has more projectiles, I believe. But as we didn't get to see Seamoon, I don't have any idea how good those projectiles actually are. I'm 100% convinced though that there are matchups where you're going to want to keep Whitesnake. I'm sure some characters without their specials just have no chance to get that disc back off you. Like Diavolo's probably... What's he going to do without his time deletion counter? His normals don't look fantastic, so he's got barely any mix-up there. So he's going to be relying on his throw to get that off you. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Um, and it'll be great because if you don't have to tell the baby any words in those matchups, you can just focus on getting a mix-up on their wake-up and then continuing to keep their special moves. So yeah, really interested in Pucci because even just Whitesnake is such a unique thing, taking your opponent's special moves until they get the disc back off you. And then you can get the Sea Moon and be even more unique, and he's got both of them. It's really unique. Valentine didn't do that much of his stuff in this match, none of the flag teleporty stuff, but he did have that counter super that looked really cool. It's not his fault because he spent most of the match without any special moves, but the potential for damage reduction that you get once you have 3 corpse parts, which isn't that hard to get, is incredible. Like, trying anything on your opponent when you take that little damage from guessing roll is it really skewers the risk reward in your favor. So that'll probably be a fairly high priority for Valentine players, getting those corpse spots before you attempt anything serious. But yeah, even like punishing something like a DP when you're taking that little damage wouldn't be that threatening. So yeah. Of course, then you have to get the part back that you dropped, but I don't think that'll be too difficult compared to what you do gain by having them. So yeah, still want to know what Johnny and Gyro get though, because if they do get that damage reduction, then Gyro's probably going to be really annoying with the kind of pressure he could do with the balls coming back and going forward, and the scan move he has where he bounces the balls. So yeah, really sorry about the delay in videos. I assume no one wants to see any of the Kakyoin matches, so I won't do any of them tomorrow. But I haven't decided which of the 4 bosses will be fighting each other tomorrow. Sorry about that. If the top 16 is up, I might do 1 boss match and 1 top 16 match. But yeah, again, really sorry for the delay. I didn't think the subs were going to take this long. I didn't think Hydra was going to get a mold infection. Like, when does that happen? Who gets a mold infection? You never hear of people getting mold infections and blacking out. I think it's just that God hates my sub work. There's a fire, and then there's mold. It's ridiculous. Sorry about complaining about that, though. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and ignore any fakes of me on 4chan. Because they're probably... There's been so much fuss lately. Just ignore them. I won't be posting with my name for quite some time, so they're probably not me. Just ignore them. Unless you see anything on my Twitter. And there was one more thing I had to say. I'll just post it in the description. Thanks for watching.